Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and in this video for the game of Stargrave, I'll be playing the second battle for my campaign, going through the Last Prospector supplement, and this battle will be the Welcome Down to Cratertown Scenario. Stargrave is a sci-fi skirmishing war game, written by Joseph A. McCullough and published by Osprey Games, and The Last Prospector is the author's second full-length supplement for the game. Before getting to the action, I'll show you the state of my crews, explain the bricks and blocks of the Welcome Down to Cratertown scenario, and then start the battle. The mercenary crew of the Iron Golem is continuing the rescue mission they've been commissioned to complete, looking for the missing prospector. Captain Errooo is now level 17 and carrying his rapid-fire / flamethrower, a knife, and wearing heavy armor. And his first mate Sergeant Ruga is still level 0 and will be wearing his combat armor and carrying a deck, picks, and a medkit. Their crew consists of their Pathfinder and Codebreaker, both with shotguns, their new Burner that's replacing the informant from the last battle, the Bruiser bodyguard that stayed with them, their Striker, their carbine-wielding trooper that was upgraded from a recruit, and their robot sentry with a shotgun and their chiseler. Captain Smada and his crew on the Negator are continuing their search to find the prospector and steal his big score so Smada can prove himself to his crime gang family. He's now level 16, and for this battle is wearing a filter mask instead of carrying a pistol, and still has his hand weapon, deck, picks, medkit, and is wearing heavy armor. And his first mate Blinky, who's level 1 now, is also wearing a filter mask and is carrying his flamethrower, a deck, and wearing heavy armor. Their crew consists of 2 sentries and a Pathfinder, all with shotguns, a robot striker, a bruiser, their medic, and their sniper and new engineer, both with carbines. The Welcome Down to Cratertown scenario takes place in a crater of a large asteroid where a small crowded town has been built. The scenario calls for lots of buildings and a crowded battlefield. I found these at IKEA and added some blocks to the top, and I think they work well for small buildings or containers. And it also calls for one flat-roofed building that is supposed to be in the middle of the battlefield, with a central loot, which rolled to be a data loot, placed here on top. Each player must place one of their other tokens either inside or on top of a building, so a data loot was placed inside this building here, and another data loot was placed on the second floor of this building. And the physical loot tokens were placed here and here. I don't really have Lego stuff to make it look like a town, so this battle is taking place in a container yard. Errooo's crew learned from their informant in the last battle that the missing prospector once worked here loading incoming supplies for railway shippings throughout Cratertown. But he had left here suddenly, for some reason. So they've arrived to look for some clues for where to search next. However, Captain Smada's crew was able to steal some of the intel during the chaos of the bar fight, and have also shown up to see if they can find some clues first. The atmosphere on the asteroid is very thin, so figures making 2 or more moves, not counting power moves, in an activation, suffer 1 point of damage. Robots and figures with filter masks avoid this. The asteroid also has low gravity, so no figure takes falling damage. There's no penalty for climbing, and a figure performing a pushback after winning a round of combat can choose to push 1 or 3 inches. At the end of turn 2, 4 Surfboys are placed on the table. These figures are supposed to be riding grav sleds, but I don't have enough Lego surfboards to represent this, so I'm using my old Lego Ice Planet figures and saying they're riding grav skis. There's some special rules about how these enemies will function that I'll explain once they've entered the table. And the crew with the highest standing with the Molly faction, which is the crew of the Iron Golem, will have some bonuses at this point. The crime gang, however, will gain 3 bonus filter masks for this scenario that take up no item slots. and this is because they have the highest standing with the Freeholders faction. The faction standing bonuses that are awarded after the battle are based on how the crews deal with these Surfboys. And while Captain Smada wants to take down a few of these Surfboys to gain some favor with the Freeholder faction, his team will be focused on recovering the central loot token, as they're using the secret they found in their last game. So if his crew secures that token, it'll contain their choice of any one item found in an advanced technology, advanced weapon, or alien artifact table. And there's no rules stated for random encounters or unwanted attention, but since Surfboys have a more complex way they activate, and I want to focus on these special enemies, I won't be using any other uncontrolled figures for this battle. For the 3 bonus filter masks Captain Smada gets, he's given those to his Bruiser, his Pathfinder, and his Medic. And over here, he has deployed a Sentry. Here is Captain Smada himself, their Striker, and their Sniper. And Blinky is over here with their new Engineer and their other Sentry. They want the central token above all else, and if they happen to pick up some other loot or take down a few of the mercenaries in the process, they'll be happy with that. Errooo is set up over here with his Bruiser, his Striker, and his Codebreaker. This part of the team is going to make an attempt at both loot tokens over here. Ruga is set up down here with their new Burner, their Trooper, who is going to try to find a vantage point, and their Robot Sentry and Chiseler. This group is going to make an attempt at these loot tokens over here. And their Pathfinder is in the middle to quickly aid whoever needs his help. At the start of the game, we'll do the out-of-game powers, which I rolled off-screen. Captain Errooo successfully used Restructure Body to make himself immune to the Wounded status, and he also succeeded with Toxic Secretion, so he will make all of his non-template based attacks toxic, and he will also do the same for this Trooper over here. Both he and Sergeant Ruga failed their rolls for Armoury, so they did have to pay an additional 50 credits so that Ruga can bring his combat armor into this battle. And then Captain Smada's team has no before-game powers, but they did win the initiative, so Smada is going to start out by doing a group activation with the Striker and this Pathfinder. The Striker will run 7 inches down here. The Pathfinder will follow him. The Pathfinder is wearing that filter mask, so he will be able to do a double move this turn. And then Smada will go last, doing a 5-inch move to right here. Then he will do his second action first, which will be to try to use the Inspiring Power over here, but needing a 9, he only rolled a 3. So that fails, and then he is going to move over here with his power move. Then over here, the Pathfinder will do a second move over here. And the Striker will do his second move 3.5 inches to right there. Over to Erroo's turn. He is going to activate with his Codebreaker. He'll start with having his Codebreaker move 6 inches over here. Then he will do a double move to move just 2 inches over to here. And that will cause 1 point of damage to him since he doesn't have a filter mask. Then Errooo is going to move 5 inches over here, and then a 3-inch power move, which doesn't cause damage, right over behind the Codebreaker. And he wanted to try to fling him up here. He needed an 8, but only rolled a 4, so he will let that fail. Moving to the first mate phase, Ruga over here is going to activate with his Engineer. He is going to move and power move 8 inches up to here, where he can just barely see his Engineer. And he attempted transport on a 14, but failed with a roll of a 1. So instead, this Engineer will just double move a total of 9 inches. On second thought, he'll go just 6 inches so he won't take any damage. Then over to Sergeant Ruga. He will activate with this Burner. The Burner will do a single 5-inch move right up here to kind of get out of Ruga's way, not wanting to take extra damage from a double move. Then Ruga will move 5 inches, 6 inches this way, and then 3 more right up over to here. And he successfully used Coordinated Fire, needing a 12 and getting an 18, all the way down here onto his captain, giving Errooo +1 shoot for the remainder of the game. And moving to the soldier phase, this sentry will single move right over here by this corner. This bruiser with his filter mask will double move 9 inches down here. The medic with his filter mask will move 9 inches down here by the pathfinder. Their sniper will do a single 6-inch move, avoiding the climbing penalty right over here next to his captain. And the other sentry will do a 5-inch single move over here, also next to his captain. Then over to the other side of the battlefield, this chiseler robot will double move over to here, 9 inches. Their sentry robot will double move 7.5 right over to here. And then their trooper will move 5 inches right up to here. And then to finish off their soldier phase, their pathfinder is going to run underneath this structure and come out right over here. Just 7 inches so he doesn't take damage. And then their striker is going to move 7 inches winding through here. Then the bruiser is going to go ahead and double move 9 inches, taking 1 point of damage, and end up right here. Since I'm not using the unwanted attention rule, we'll move to the next turn. Captain Smada won the initiative again this round. He will activate by himself and move 5 inches over here, and then power move 3 more inches. Then he will use the inspiring power. He failed by 1, needing a 9, so he will exert to successfully increase the striker's fight power to +6. Moving over to Erroo's turn, he is going to activate with his Codebreaker and his Bruiser. He'll start out by having his Bruiser move 9 inches over this way, and he will move just on the other side of this loot token to stop anybody from moving around this way. Then Errooo wanted to use Adrenaline Surge, but he needed a 10 and only rolled a 1. So instead he is going to just power move and then move over here by this rock. And then the Codebreaker will double move, taking 1 point of damage, over to here, up inside here. And 9 inches will get him right there, not quite to that data loot that he wants to try to open. So at the end of the captain phase on turn 2, a Surfboy, or in my case a Ski Boy, shows up in each corner. And they're really unique with their activations. At the end of each captain phase, they'll activate and do a strafing run. The figure turns toward the closest crew member and makes an 8-inch straight move in that direction, ignoring all terrain and figures as they move. Then each figure the Ski Boy passed over suffers a +3 shooting attack, using the Ski Boy's starting location as the origin point, and any full concealment from that point just counts as heavy cover. And then in the creature phase, it activates again, doing just a single random movement with no attacks. And no figure can move into combat with it unless it can levitate or fly. And I assume the Ski Boys won't move into combat on their random movement as well. When they first appear, the players get to take turns choosing the direction of the strafing runs, with the player with the highest standing with the Molly faction going first. Since Erroo's crew has the highest standing with Molly, sitting at 2, they get to go first, and they are going to choose to have this Surfboy turn this way, and then do his 8-inch move strafing run this way, and he ends up hitting no one in his path. They decided they wanted to go with defense rather than offense, trying to avoid those Surfboys, or Ski Boys, as they try to collect some loot. For the Ski Boy Smada gets to move, they're going to choose this one, so that Errooo can't have him strafe over their sentry over there, so they're going to have him move 8 inches over here, and that'll also put him out in the open to get shot at. There's some faction bonuses that teams can gain for taking down some of the Ski Boys, and Smada's crew wants to try to take advantage of some of that. And then continuing on their plan to kind of try to avoid these ski boys over here for Erroo's team. They're going to move this one 8 inches right down to there. But then Smada is going to move this one 8 inches down in this direction to try to cause some problems with getting some loot out over here. So now going to the first mate phase. Over here, Blinky is going to activate with the Striker, the Engineer, and the Shotgun-wielding Sentry. And he will start out by moving 5 inches over here, and then he'll use his second action to fire his shotgun at that Bruiser. It's a hasty shot, 1 piece of intervening terrain, and Bruisers get a +1 against shooting attacks. And the Bruiser rolls a total of 23 against just 7 for the +2 shooting attack, so that misses. Then Blinky is going to use the transport power. He is successful this time with a roll of a 20, needing just a 14. And he is going to transport the Engineer right up there. And then he is going to power move and move a total of 8 inches over to here. Right back there where he's got some cover against that wall and up above him. Then the Engineer that was transported will activate. He's going to move over here and try to unlock this. With his +3 will, he gets only a total of 11, needing a 14, and does not crack into that central data loot. However, the Striker is going to attempt the same thing on 7 inches. Since there's no climbing penalties in this scenario, he can get right up here, and from there he is going to attempt with his +3, but he gets only a total of 7. So neither of those soldiers were able to get into that loot. Going over to Sergeant Ruga, instead of using a power, he's decided that they really need to find some clues, so he is going to come over here to this physical loot, and with his picks that he's holding plus his +2 will gives him a +8 to open this, and he rolls a total of 16, which is more than enough to crack into that. And since that's physical loot, he will choose to take a free action to pick up that loot. Going now to the soldier phase, Captain Smada's sniper will start things out by taking a +4 wide open shot at this ski boy. Ski boys have +3 fight for defense. However, the sniper rolled a critical hit, so he'll do +5 damage. Against 14 armor, that deals 15 damage. They do have 16 health. However, they also have a weakness that if a critical hit is ever scored against them, they're considered to have crashed and died. So that takes down the first ski boy. Then the sniper is going to move over here next to his captain. And then they'll have their sentry that's over here move 5 inches out into the open next to their Bruiser. From there, he can take a wide open but hasty shot down here at Sergeant Ruga. That boosts Ruga up to a +5 against +2 shoot, and the shot misses with a 12 against a 20. Then their Bruiser is going to do a 9-inch move through this doorway out onto the other side. 2 right there to prevent anybody from trying to come in there to unlock the data loot that's inside there. Next, I'll take the roof off of this right here because the medic that's over here is going to double move inside this room right up against this data loot. And then their Pathfinder that's around here is going to do a single move around here next to this rock to have some cover but also protect this data loot, and he's going to take a wide open hasty shot at Sergeant Ruga. That puts Ruga at a +5, giving him a total of 11, but the +3 bonus of the Pathfinder boosts his roll up to a total of 12, with +1 damage being a shotgun. However, that does not get past the 13 armor of the combat armor wearing Sergeant Ruga. Going to Erroo's soldiers, they'll have their burner here. Start out by making a 5-inch movement right over to here. And from there, he is going to lay down a line of flame right here at this Pathfinder. He's only a +2 shoot. It's a hasty shot. The Pathfinder has light cover, giving the Pathfinder +6. However, his total of 19 can't beat the total of 20 for the burner. That deals +2 damage and essentially negates the Pathfinder's armor. He takes 13 points of damage, putting him down to 1 health. He's wounded and stunned. And this trooper is wanting to capitalize on that Pathfinder being wounded, so he's going to come over here. Again, that's a hasty shot, light cover. Now he's stunned, but he's also wounded. But with all these bonuses and penalties, it doesn't really matter because the shot failed with a total of 5 against 14. The Chiseler, with no physical loot around here to really do much with, is going to come over here and press his luck by firing his pistol at this bruiser. His +1 against +5 for hasty shot is a failure with a total of 15 against 23. Then their sentry will just run over here, right around this corner, to make the Gamorrean here have to decide which of these soldiers he wants to go after. The Pathfinder over here is going to decide to go this way to give some support to his captain, just in case it's needed. And then this Striker is going to double move all the way over here into contact with the physical loot token. Going to the creature phase, since the ski boys just make random movements with no attacks at this point, this one here rolled to move 8 inches this way, so put him right there. This one down here rolled to move 8 inches back towards the corner over here. And the third one still standing rolled to go that way, so he'll just stay where he is at. For this round, Errooo has won the initiative, and he is going to activate with this Pathfinder that moved towards him. But first he'll have the Striker activate. She will attempt to open this. She's got a +3, but only gets a total of a 13, needing a 14. So with that still locked, she's going to use her second action to run up here, climbing with no penalty, 7 inches right into combat with this engineer to try to slow them down as they open up, try to get into that data loot. And then the Pathfinder, he's going to try his luck. He's going to run over here. He's got a +2 will, and rolling a 16, he gets an 18, which unlocks that loot. So the Pathfinder gets to pick that up as a free action. And then Errooo is going to activate his Fling power. He's going to, I guess, power move first and then use that. He needs just a 8 and he rolls a 12. And then he is going to fling this Pathfinder 6 inches this way, over this wall, right down over here. And he is stunned there with his loot. And then Errooo will move 5 inches around here behind this wall himself. Captain Smada will then activate with his sniper. Sniper's going to climb up here and then move a little bit over here. Feeling pretty confident after taking out that ski boy. He is going to take a shot, hasty shot with intervening terrain there at that Codebreaker. The Codebreaker's a +5 with the modifications against a +4, and the sniper misses with a 6 against 13. And then Smada is going to climb up here. He'll come right over here and then power move around here next to this token. And then he will successfully use Inspiring on the Engineer with a 16, needing just a 9, to help him fight off that Striker. At the end of the captain phase, the ski boys get to make their strafing run. This time, players do not get to choose where they go. They just simply go towards the closest figure. So for this one here, it'll come at this trooper. Going 8 inches in a straight line, he passes over him, but nobody else. Ending his movement right here. And so he does make a +3 attack, but it's generated from where he was, which means he has light cover, giving the trooper a +4 fight and a total of 18 against 9 with the ski boy's missed +3 attack. And then going back to this corner, the ski boy back here will move 8 inches towards Errooo, which will put him right here. And the final ski boy back here will come towards the Codebreaker that's hanging out in there. And I suppose that will put him kind of levitating up here towards the roof. That doesn't quite get to the Codebreaker, so no strafing attack there. Moving to the first mate phase, Sergeant Ruga will haul his loot 3 inches this way, then activate a power move. And it's been ruled that power moves are reduced to half the distance while carrying loot. And he wants to attempt to use coordinated fire on this burner. He needs a 12 to activate it, but only rolls a 2. Blinky will move out of his protection here. He will go 5 inches over to here, and he'll attempt the bait and switch power on Sergeant Ruga. He needs a 14, but he rolled a 13, so he'll exert for 1 and take 2 points of strain damage. Ruga gets a will roll to resist that, but with his +2, he only gets a total of 4. So this gets moved 4 inches in whichever direction Blinky wants, and he's going to put it right out here in the open, so somebody's got to run out and grab that. And then Blinky, not wanting to be out here when there's a flamethrower around, is going to run into here with his power move. Moving to the soldier phase over here, this code breaker. Just move this stuff. He's going to come over to this data loot on this far side and attempt to open it with his +8 with his will stat and his deck. And altogether he rolls a 15. So that is unlocked, sitting there waiting for him to pick it up. And then this bruiser down here is just going to climb up this wall and move into combat. It is just a single move, but he will choose not to do anything with his second action. He just wants to tie up that sniper. Then up front here, this burner is going to run around this stone pillar to right here. And from there, he is going to lay down a line of fire that will hit both this Pathfinder and this medic in here. It ends up missing the Pathfinder. However, he ends up rolling a critical hit against this medic, ignoring armor and dealing +2 damage. That is definitely more than enough to take that medic out of the game. And this sentry wants to pick up this loot, but it's too close to these figures to get to, so he's going to come over here and get into combat with this Pathfinder. That will unstun him, but give him -2 to his attack. So the Pathfinder is a -1 because he's also wounded, against +3 for the sentry. The sentry gets a total of 17 against 12 and deals more than the 1 damage needed to take down the Pathfinder. And next, this trooper, wanting to get in on some of this action, will run right over here and take a shot down this pathway at the Gamorrean. He's a +3, but the Gamorrean is a +5 with hasty shot and his special ability to dodge shooting attacks. And with a 5 against 20, that shot misses. And the Chiseler will attempt a shot as well. With his +1, gets an 11 against a 10. So it does hit, but doesn't get past the heavy armor. So it will just instead move into combat to tie up the Gamorrean. And now to Smada's turn. They'll start out with having their bruiser attack back against this Chiseler. But apparently the Chiseler is better in hand-to-hand combat because it ended up getting a critical hit. Even with its knife, it deals 14 damage to the bruiser that only rolled a total of 8. Hoping for better results with the situation up here, the striker is going to come over here and attack with the support of the engineer. That makes him a +8 with inspiring against +5. He rolls at 18, which gives him a total of 26 with +1 damage, and ignoring her armor, that deals a total of 18 points of damage, taking down that lady striker. And then the engineer decides to try to hack into this data loot, but rolling a 6 with his +3 only gives him a 9 when he needs a 14. So instead he's going to run over here and add support to the sniper. And now that the sniper has support, he'll attack with a +5 against +3, but he gets an 18 to the bruiser's 21, dealing 11 points of damage. That does wound the sniper. The bruiser will push him out of combat, and in this battle, you can push up to 3 inches away, so that'll push him right over the edge, but there is no falling damage in this battle due to the low gravity. But that at least gets the sniper out of the way. Then this sentry down here is going to run up here, 7.5 inches, even without climbing penalty, can only get him to right there on his double move. And lastly, this other sentry here is going to take a wide open shot with his shotgun at this burner. That burner's still impressed by what he did with his flamethrower attack. completely ignored this guy, who lands a critical hit, which critical hits pretty much always spell disaster. That's more than enough damage to take down that burner. And even with that burner going down, this flank is starting to get overrun here. So the sentry is going to run 5 inches over to here, and these guys are going to start trying to retreat towards Smada to at least try to get that central loot off the table. And moving to the creature phase, for the random 8-inch movements that the ski boys do, this one will move over here by this building. This one here is apparently afraid of Errooo and has decided to go back over here towards his corner. And the one up here on top of this building is going to fly over here to try to get a better vantage point, apparently. Moving to the next turn, initiative has gone back to Captain Smada, and with this flank pretty well folding and Errooo's team just about to secure the loot over there, Smada wants to get off the board with at least something. So he is going to activate with his striker, and he is just going to use his action to try to break into this data loot. He's got a plus 11 due to his plus 5 will and the picks, the deck that he's carrying. So rolling a total of 25 opens that up, and then he is going to start his retreat, moving 5 inches over this way. And then the striker is going to come over here and just pick up the data loot with his action. Moving to Errooo's turn back here, he is going to activate with this stunned Pathfinder, and he will just come over to the Pathfinder and attempt Fling. Needing just an 8, he gets a 17 and flings him another 6 inches this turn over here by the edge of the board. Then Errooo will do a 5-inch move over here. Then the Pathfinder will activate. He'll stand up from his stun, and he still gets 1 action, so he'll use that to move off the board, securing the first loot of the game. And then the ski boys will activate here right after the captain phase. For this, they do their strafing run, which is an 8-inch move toward the closest crew member. So this one here will move 8 inches towards Errooo. And then moving up front here, the closest figure to this ski boy is the Chiseler, doing an 8-inch straight move over here. We'll put him right over here, so he doesn't quite fly by Blinky in there. So the plus 3 attack is determined based on where the ski boy was, so that will be heavy cover, giving the Chiseler a total of plus 5 against plus 3. But the Chiseler gets just a total of 17 to 18, so that deals 8 damage, putting him down to 4 health, stunning and wounding him. And moving to the last ski boy back here, the closest crew member is in this building right over here, the Codebreaker. So it has heavy cover, which gives him a total of plus 7 defense against plus 3, but his 14 total cannot beat 22. He takes 12 points of damage, and since he already took 2 points of damage from doing double moves, that is enough to take him out of the game. To the first mate phase, Blinky is going to move out of this building. Since there's supposed to be a roof here, he can't actually see that Surfboy, ski boy from there, but he'll move 5 inches over to here and then use his flamethrower to do an attack. The ski boy's got heavy cover and it's a hasty shot, and that definitely misses with a total of 7 to 19. Then Ruga will attempt coordinated fire on this sentry. He needed a 12 but only got a 6, so he will let that fail. Then he will power move and move a total of 8 inches, which is enough to get him right next to that data loot, and he doesn't really care about this flamethrower attack behind him because he's got combat armor. And to the soldier phase, the crime gang really wants to try to take out another one of these ski boys, so this sentry is going to fire his shotgun with a plus 2 against plus 5 due to a light cover. He fails with a 3 against a 23, so he is going to move 5 inches over here next to his commanding officer. Then over to this rooftop, the sentry here will move into combat with this bruiser, and he'll come around this side and attack with the support of his engineer. With his plus 5 against plus 3, he gets a 14 to a 6, and deals 3 points of damage, bringing that bruiser down to 8. And then the engineer will attack with support, and with his +5 and the fact that he's got a hand weapon, he rolls a 19, dealing 8 points of damage to the bruiser, who rolled a total of just 5. And after taking down that bruiser, the engineer decides it's time to just run away. He'll run 6 inches over here and then just drop down. The wounded sniper is also going to go into retreat mode, moving just 6 inches on his only action. To the Mercenaries soldier phase, this droid here, Chiseler will just stand up and use his single movement to move over here to try to just draw some attention. Then this sentry that's right up here is going to move 5 inches to right there and take a shotgun blast at that sentry. Being a hasty shot, that gives the defender a total of +4 against +2 shoot, but the attacker gets a total of 18 against 11, and with +1 damage, that deals 8 damage, bringing the sentry down to 6 and stunning him. Doing a spin move there. And this trooper, instead of picking up this loot, is going to run over here. And now that this sentry is laying down, he can see Blinky with some intervening terrain, and a hasty shot gives Blinky a total of +4 against +3, and Blinky ends up defending that with a 21 against 10. For the random moves for the ski boys, this one rolled to move this way 8 inches, which will put him right at the table edge. Then over here, Errooo is going to start to get surrounded. This one here moved 8 inches this way, and this one up on top of the building moved 8 inches this way. Errooo wins the initiative this round, and he is going to activate the Adrenaline Surge power, which he succeeds on with an 11, needing just a 10. That gives him an extra action this phase and next captain phase. So he will then power move over here and then use his movement action to come up here next to this data loot and then pick that up with his bonus action. And then to Captain Smada, he is going to activate with this sentry up here, as well as this engineer, and he is going to move and then power move down here next to this sniper, and then attempt the command power. He needs a 10 and only rolled a 3, but he will go ahead and exert to make that successful. Captain Smada's plan is to unleash one final assault on this ski boy right down here. So he will have the sniper that has just been commanded use his one action, since he's wounded, to fire down here, but with 2 pieces of intervening terrain, that misses. Then the engineer is going to come over here and take a +3 hasty shot, but that misses also. And then their sentry is going to run over here and take a hasty shot, and that one does land, but just deals 3 damage with his shotgun against the 14 armor of the ski boy. And then over here to the strafing runs. First, this one here is going to do a fly over Errooo, coming this way and then pretty much ending up right here next to his teammate. He gets a +3 shooting attack, but it's a +8 total defense because that counts as heavy cover, and he defends with a 24 against 10. And then this other one is going to do the same thing, coming this way and ending up right over here. But that one also misses. He gets a 20, but Errooo once again gets a 24 in defense. And then up here on the front side of the board, for the first time, one of these strafing attacks will actually hit 2 figures, hitting both the Chiseler and Blinky. The wounded Chiseler is a -1 against +3. He loses, but it's only a 5 to a 6, so no damage. And then for Blinky, he rolls a total of 18 with his +2 against just a 7 for the ski boy. To Ruga's turn, he is going to attempt to unlock that loot with his +8 due to his will and his dex. He succeeds on a 26, so that will pop up right here. And then he is going to get out of there, running over here 5 inches, so that he isn't in the range of that flamethrower attack after all. Then to Blinky, he will activate with this sentry. The sentry will just stand up and then use his one action to carefully run over here off the board, avoiding that chiseler. And then Blinky is just going to fire his flamethrower over here. And against the trooper, it misses with just a 5 against 12 with a +2 against +2. But the +2 shooting attack against the +3 sentry does land, getting a total of 18, which deals +2 damage and ignores armor. So that deals 11 damage and stuns that sentry. And then Blinky is just going to use his second action to run off the table. And then to Samada's soldier phase, the last soldier left to activate is this striker, and he's just going to pick up this loot and then run over here. He's not slowed because that is data loot. And then for the ski boys at the end of the turn, this one will move 8 inches over here on top of this building. And then back here, this one is going to move 8 inches over here. And the other one back there has decided to just move against the wall there and essentially stay put. Errooo has won the initiative for this next round, and since he's carrying this data loot and he's near this table edge, he gets an extra action this turn because of his adrenaline surge, so he can easily just carry this off the edge here. And then Smada over here is just going to activate with his wounded sniper and his data loot carrying striker, and all three of these figures can run off the board here this turn. For the strafing runs, this trooper is just barely closer to this ski boy than Ruga is, so he is going to move this way 8 inches, and with his +3 strafing run against a +6 due to heavy cover, the trooper defends that with a 15 against 13. And then to the other two back here, they can't reach anybody, but they'll strafe towards the closest crew members. This one will come right over here towards this engineer, and then the other one that's back here will move 8 inches over here. To the first mate phase, Ruga is going to pick up this physical loot that he ended up dropping earlier thanks to that bait and switch, and move 3 inches down this alleyway. And then to the soldier phase, this trooper over here is going to run inside this building and pick up this data loot. This chiseler is going to run off the board, and this stunned sentry is going to stand up and move 5 inches over here. Then to Captain Smada's soldier phase, this sentry here is going to take a wide open shotgun shot at that ski boy down there, but misses with a 5 against a 7. And then he is just going to hop down and run over here. And then the engineer is going to take a wide open shot with his carbine, but he ends up missing with a 12 against an 18. And then he is just going to run over here, trying to stay in some cover. For the movements during the creature phase, this one here is going to move 8 inches this way. This one back here will move 8 inches up over here. And this one here is gonna see if Errooo is still around apparently and go back here. For this next round, Smada won the initiative, but I don't think it'll really matter. Since there's no captains on the board, we'll jump right to the strafing runs. He's going to make a strafing run over this engineer to right here. But with his +3 against the +7 for heavy cover there, that is a miss with an 8 against a 21. And then this one will come right over here and attack the sentry here that's under heavy cover, but again with a +7 against +3, that's easily defended with a total of 16 against just 7. And back here, concluding that Errooo has in fact left, he is going to come up and move 8 inches over here. And then to finish out the game, Ruga with his loot is going to run 3 inches over to here, and then use the command power on the trooper that he can now see. Needing a 12, he gets an 18, which succeeds. Then he will just power move his way off the table, and now that trooper that is activating can easily move on 9 inches carrying this data loot off the board here, and then with no loot remaining on the table, the game is over. For the end of game activities, I realized the Last Prospector book doesn't say when faction points are awarded during these steps, so I'll go ahead and award them first because they can affect some things that happen at this point. So the crew of the Iron Golem gains +2 with Molly for not killing any of the ski boys, bringing that standing up to 4 and unlocking the ability to trade some of their black market rolls for a specific selection of an item to buy from the Last Prospector loot table. And the crew of the Negator had wanted to take out a few of the ski boys, but their defenses proved to be quite tough, so taking out just one of them increased their standing with the Freeholders League by 1, up to 2 total. For survival rolls, all the figures survived except the medic in Captain Smada's crew. However, since they have an advanced medical suite, they were able to re-roll one result, and he survived. For experience points, none of the commanding officers from either crew successfully used many powers. The only bonus experience was a slightly higher gain for one Surfboy Smada's team took down, and the crew of the Iron Golem unlocked most of the loot tokens, so they gained 210 experience points, which allowed Errooo to advance to level 18 and reduce the activation number of Adrenaline Surge down to 9, while Sergeant Ruga advanced to level 1 and reduced the activation number of Fling down to 11. Captain Smada only gained 170 experience points, and since he only had 5 experience saved, they were only able to advance Blinky up to level 2 and increase his low fight stat up to +3. The Mercenaries recovered 4 loot tokens. With the data variety, they found 75 credits and some information they were able to sell for another 75. Their physical loot got them some trade goods they could sell for 300 credits, and a new trans-dimensional pocket. But it's only usable by a rogue to allow them to carry an additional piece of gear, so they sold it for 250 credits. They used 350 of their credits and their black market aid from the Molly faction to purchase a Force Shield bracelet, and they've given it to their Codebreaker since he's fallen to uncontrolled enemies in both battles now. He's able to use a free action during his activation to activate or deactivate the shield, and when active, it gives him +1 bonuses to armor and fight while defending shooting attacks. However, he can't use his shotgun or any other gear that takes 2 slots while it's active, and they have 505 credits remaining. With the 1 data loot the crime gang found, since it was the central loot and they used their secret, they get to select any one piece of gear from an advanced weapon, advanced technology, or alien artifact table. And they've chosen to find a micro-transporter, which they'll give to Blinky to make his bait and switch power more difficult to resist. And the only out-of-game power the crew succeeded with was Haggle, so they sold the Robot Eater rounds they saved after last battle for 20% more, receiving 240 credits and increasing their total to 590, which they'll just save for now. For investigation points, Erroo's team gained 4, bringing their total to 6, and Smada's team gained just 1, bringing their total to 4. Since the Mercenaries won, they can choose any of the scenarios from the Last Prospector besides number 10 to play next. So they've decided to travel to the rundown and abandoned sections of Penthelia Station in the Revolutionary Scenario. They're coming here in search of someone named Daughter Ryla, who they've learned knows some more information about the Prospector's whereabouts. So make sure you don't miss that battle by subscribing and hitting the notification bell, and be sure to check out the other content on my channel. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thanks for watching and play well.